The ancient salvage ship Horizon's Edge drifted silently through the debris field at the edge of the Carina Nebula. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge viewport, her weathered face illuminated by the ethereal purple glow of the surrounding gas clouds. 20 years of deep space salvage operations had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed that something was wrong. "Captain, I'm picking up an unusual energy signature," called out Maya Rodriguez, her sensor specialist. "It's unlike anything in our database. Definitely not human tech, and not matching any known alien signatures either." Sarah straightened her back, running a hand through her silver-streaked black hair. "Location? Grid Sector 7, about 3 kilometers off our port bow. It's moving. Slowly, but deliberately." The bridge crew fell silent. In their line of work, unknown signals usually meant one of two things: profit or peril. Sometimes both. Sarah had learned the hard way that the difference often came down to split-second decisions. "Full scan, Maya. Kai, bring us in closer, but keep the engines at minimal power. No sense advertising our presence." As they approached, the debris field began to thin, revealing what appeared to be the wreckage of a small vessel. Its design was unlike anything Sarah had ever seen: organic curves and crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. "Life signs?" Sarah asked, though she didn't expect any. Out here, this far from civilized space, survival was measured in minutes, not hours. Maya's sharp intake of breath caught everyone's attention. 1. Extremely weak, but... "Captain, these readings. The biorhythms don't match any known species in our database." Sarah's decision was immediate. "Prep the recovery bay. Kai, match velocity and bring us alongside. Maya, you're with me. Dr. Hassan, meet us in recovery. Everyone else, stay alert. If this is some kind of trap, I want to be ready." The recovery operation was delicate. As Sarah and Maya maneuvered their EVA suits through the wreckage, the true nature of the vessel became apparent. It wasn't just designed to look organic, parts of it seemed to be actually alive, or at least had been before whatever catastrophe had befallen it. They found the survivor in what appeared to be the ship's control center. Sarah's helmet lights illuminated a sight that made her pause in wonder. The being before them was humanoid in basic form, but that's where the similarities ended. Its skin was translucent, like living crystal, with patterns of light flowing beneath the surface. What appeared to be injuries had created cracks in the crystalline flesh, leaking a luminescent fluid that hung in globules in the zero gravity. But what truly caught Sarah's attention was the being's abdomen, swollen and pulsing with a distinct inner glow. "She's pregnant," Sarah breathed, the words barely a whisper in her helmet comm. Maya's voice crackled with concern. "Captain, these readings, both mother and child, are failing. We need to move fast." As they carefully extracted the alien from the wreckage, Sarah noticed something else: markings on the vessel's interior that she recognized from news broadcasts. Imperial script. This wasn't just any alien vessel. This was an Imperial ship, and their survivor was somehow connected to the Crystalline Empire, the most powerful and ruthless force in the known galaxy. Back aboard the Horizon's Edge, Dr. Hassan worked frantically to stabilize their mysterious patient in the medical bay. Sarah stood at the observation window, her mind racing. Harboring anyone connected to the Empire was a death sentence. The smart play would be to alert the authorities, collect whatever reward they offered, and wash their hands of the whole situation. But as she watched the alien's chest rise and fall, saw the desperate way her crystalline hands clutched at her swollen abdomen even in unconsciousness, Sarah knew they were already past that point. Whatever this being was, whatever she was running from, she had chosen to flee into the darkest reaches of space while carrying a child. That spoke of a desperation Sarah understood all too well. "Dr. Hassan," she called over the intercom. "Do whatever you need to do to keep them alive. Both of them." The doctor looked up and nodded, understanding the weight of the captain's decision. Maya appeared at Sarah's side, her dark eyes serious. "Captain, I've completed the preliminary analysis of the ship's navigational data. She came from the Imperial Core worlds. And, there are pursuit vectors. Multiple vessels, heavily armed. They're looking for her." Sarah nodded, a grim smile touching her lips. "Then we better make sure they don't find her. Plot a course for the maelstrom, the electromagnetic interference should hide our trail. And Maya? Send word to some of our old friends from the Resistance. Something tells me we're going to need all the help we can get." As the horizon's edge accelerated away from the wreckage, Sarah watched the mysterious glow of the nebula behind them. She had spent her life salvaging the broken remains of other people's stories. Perhaps it was time to help write a new one. In the medical bay below, the crystalline being's eyes fluttered open for the first time, revealing irises that sparkled like stars. And in that moment, though neither of them knew it yet, the fate of the galaxy began to shift. The medical bay's soft blue lighting cast gentle shadows across the crystalline being's features as she finally regained full consciousness. Dr. Hassan's instruments registered a spike in both her vital signs and the strange energy field that seemed to emanate from her body. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the foot of the medical bed, watching as their patient star-filled eyes darted around the room, taking in her surroundings with obvious apprehension. "I am Lasara," the being spoke, her voice carrying an ethereal quality that seemed to resonate in their minds as much as their ears. "Last keeper of the celestial archives." Her hands moved protectively to her abdomen. You saved us." Sarah stepped forward, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the salvage vessel Horizon's Edge. You're safe here." Lasara's crystalline features shifted in what might have been a smile, though tinged with sadness. "Safe is a relative term, Captain. The Empire's reach is vast, and what I carry." She closed her eyes, patterns of light flowing beneath her transparent skin. "What I carry could either save or destroy everything." Over the next few days, as the horizon's edge pushed deeper into the maelstrom's electromagnetic storms, Lasara's strength gradually returned. The crew learned that her people, the Lumini, had once been the guardians of ancient knowledge, their crystalline bodies capable of storing vast amounts of information in their very structure. The Empire, led by the ruthless Emperor Nexus, had systematically hunted them down, seeking to control their abilities and the secrets they protected. "They didn't just want our knowledge," Lasara explained one evening in the ship's common area, where the crew had gathered to hear her story. "They wanted to weaponize our very essence." Emperor Nexus. Her voice faltered, the lights beneath her skin dimming. "He discovered that by harvesting our crystals, he could create weapons of unprecedented power. My people refused to help him. So he decided to take what he wanted by force." Maya, who had been analyzing data from Lasara's vessel, looked up from her tablet. "The child you carry. It's his, isn't it?" The question hung in the air like a physical weight. Lasara's hand moved to her abdomen, where the glow had grown stronger with each passing day. "Yes. But not in the way you might think. I was his chief scientist, studying ways to heal my people's injuries. He used my research, twisted it. This child was created in a laboratory, an attempt to breed a new race of Lumini that would be loyal to him from birth. But something went wrong, or perhaps something went right. The child's genetic structure is unique, beyond anything Nexus intended." Sarah leaned forward, her expression serious. "What do you mean?" "The child carries not just Lumini abilities, but also access to the full genetic memory of my people. Everything we ever knew, everything we protected, and the key to undoing the Empire's weapons. That's why Nexus will never stop hunting us. This child represents both his greatest achievement and his greatest threat." The ship's security officer, Marcus Wells, who had been quietly listening from the corner, finally spoke up. "Captain, we're picking up increased Imperial communications traffic. They're expanding their search pattern. It's only a matter of time before they think to check the maelstrom. Sarah nodded, her mind already working through possibilities. We need to get ahead of this. Maya, what did you find in those NAV computers? Maya pulled up a holographic display. There's a pattern to the routes Lasara took while escaping. She was hitting specific locations, old Lamini outposts. Lasara's eyes widened. You deciphered that? Impressive. Yes, I was trying to reach our last sanctuary. A hidden place where the remaining knowledge of my people was stored. If we can get there before Nexus finds us, we might have a chance, Sarah finished. She stood, decision made. Maya, plot us a course through the worst parts of the maelstrom. Marcus, I want every sensor trick and countermeasure we have ready to deploy. Dr. Hassan, what's your take on Lasara's condition? The doctor consulted his readings. The child's development is accelerating, but both mother and baby are stable. I'd estimate we have perhaps 2 weeks before. He was cut off by a sudden blaring of alarms. Kai's voice came over the intercom from the bridge. Captain, we've got multiple contacts. Imperial signatures, heavy cruiser class. They're launching fighters. Sarah's expression hardened. How the hell did they find us so fast? She turned to Lasara, whose crystalline form had begun to pulse with agitation. The child, Lasara whispered. Its power is growing. They must have detected its energy signature, even through the maelstrom's interference. Everyone to battle stations, Sarah commanded. Maya, get those course calculations done now. Marcus, prepare the countermeasures. Dr. Hassan, get Lasara somewhere secure. She paused, meeting each crew member's eyes. We all knew the risks when we made this choice. Now we show these Imperial bastards what happens when they corner a human crew. As the crew rushed to their positions, Lasara caught Sarah's arm. Captain. I never meant to bring this danger to you and your people. Sarah's expression softened for a moment. Sometimes the most important fights find us, whether we're looking for them or not. She gestured to the crew as they efficiently prepared for battle. Humans have a long history of standing up to bullies and tyrants. Looks like it's time to add another chapter to that story. The horizon's edge plunged deeper into the maelstrom's swirling energies, its human crew preparing to protect their crystalline passenger with everything they had. Behind them, Imperial fighters began their approach, their weapons charging. The real test of trust and resilience was about to begin. The maelstrom lived up to its name, its swirling electromagnetic storms battering the horizon's edge as Imperial fighters closed in from behind. Captain Sarah Chin gripped her command chair, years of experience evident in her calm demeanor despite the chaos around them. Status on those fighters, Marcus? 6 pursuing, 2 attack formations. These aren't standard Imperial pilots, Captain. Their flight patterns suggest elite guard squadrons. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Of course Nexus would send his best. Maya, how's our course looking? Maya's fingers danced across her console, adjusting calculations in real time. I've mapped a route through the denser portions of the storm. It's risky, but those Imperial ships are built for straight-line power. They won't be able to match our maneuverability. Kai, you hear that? Time to show them what this old salvage ship can really do. Their pilot's response was to bank the ship hard to port, diving into a particularly violent section of the storm. The pursuing fighters hesitated for just a moment, all the advantage the human crew needed. In the medical bay, Lasara watched through the ship's internal feeds as the humans worked in perfect coordination. The child within her stirred, responding to the intense energies of the maelstrom. She placed a crystalline hand against the wall, feeling the vibrations of the ship's straining engines. They're protecting us, she whispered, both to herself and her unborn child. Just as the Ancient One said, humans possess a strength that comes not from power, but from unity and determination. Back on the bridge, the pursuit had turned into a deadly game of cat and mouse. The horizon's edge weaved through electromagnetic tendrils that would have torn apart less sturdy vessels, its reinforced salvage hull proving unexpectedly useful in combat. Imperial ships are launching some kind of energy weapon, Marcus reported. Different from their standard armament. Reading unusual crystalline signatures. Lysara's voice came urgently through the intercom, "Captain, those are Lumini-based weapons. The crystals they harvested from my people, they've weaponized them." A blast of prismatic energy narrowly missed their port side, connecting instead with a nearby storm tendril. The energy reaction was immediate and devastating, creating a shockwave that rocked both pursuer and pursued. "Maya, analyze that interaction," Sarah commanded. "There might be something we can use there." "Already on it, Captain." The Lumini weapons seem to have an amplification effect on the storm's energy. If we could lead them into one of the major nodes, we could turn their own weapons against them, Sarah finished. "Kai, plot a course for the nearest major storm node. Marcus, prepare to drop our sensor buoys. Let's give our friends something to chase." The plan came together with practiced efficiency. The Horizon's Edge deployed a series of modified sensor buoys, each programmed to emit an energy signature matching Lysara's child. As they approached a massive confluence of storm energies, the Imperial fighters took the bait, splitting their formation to chase what they thought were multiple escape attempts. "They're charging weapons," Marcus announced. "All ships preparing to fire." Sarah's voice cut through the tension, "Now, Kai." The Horizon's Edge executed a maneuver that would have been suicide in a military vessel, a complete reverse of thrust while maintaining their vector, essentially sliding backward through space. The Imperial fighters, committed to their attack runs, fired directly into the storm node. Their Lumini-based weapons connected with the swirling energies, creating a cascade reaction that transformed the entire sector into a maelstrom within the maelstrom. The human crew watched in awe as prismatic energies consumed the Imperial fighters, their superior technology proving to be their undoing in this particular battle. "Damage report?" Sarah called out as they cleared the affected sector. "Hull integrity at 82%, Kai reported. All systems functional, though our rear shields took a beating. We're clear of immediate pursuit, but they'll send more," Sarah finished. "They always send more. Maya, what's the status of our original course to the Lumini Sanctuary?" "Still calculating, Captain. The battle affected some of my navigation points, but I should have a new route plotted within the hour." Dr. Hassan's voice came over the intercom, "Captain, you should come to medical. There's something you need to see." In the medical bay, Sarah found Lysara surrounded by a soft aureole of light, her crystalline form seeming to resonate with the lingering energies of the battle. The child within her was glowing brighter than ever. "The battle, the energies they unleashed," Lysara explained, her voice filled with wonder. "The child, it's absorbing them, learning from them. It's not just carrying our memories, it's actively adapting, evolving. This could be the key to everything." Sarah studied their passenger thoughtfully. "You mean a way to stop the Empire's weapons?" "More than that. A way to heal what was broken. My people's abilities were always meant to preserve and protect knowledge, not destroy. This child might represent a way to restore that balance." Maya entered the medical bay, tablet in hand. "Captain, I've got that course plotted, but you're not going to like it. The only way to reach the sanctuary without being intercepted by Imperial forces is through the heart of the maelstrom itself." Sarah looked at Lysara, then at her crew. The choice had never really been a choice at all. "Plot the course," she ordered. "If we're going to change the galaxy, we might as well do it in style." As the Horizon's Edge turned toward the heart of the storm, its human crew prepared for the greatest challenge of their lives. They had proven they could outfight the Empire's best. Now they would have to prove they could outthink them as well. The heart of the maelstrom was unlike anything the crew of the Horizon's Edge had ever encountered. Massive waves of electromagnetic energy created curtains of light that dwarfed their vessel, while gravimetric distortions twisted space itself into impossible shapes. At the helm, Kai's hands moved constantly, making micro-adjustments to keep them stable. "These readings are off the charts," Maya reported from her station. "The energy patterns, they're not random. There's something almost deliberate about them." Lasara, who had insisted on coming to the bridge despite her condition, placed a crystalline hand against the main viewport. The patterns of light beneath her skin seemed to pulse in rhythm with the surrounding chaos. "You're right," she whispered. "This was one of our greatest secrets. The maelstrom isn't just a natural phenomenon, it's a vast network of ancient Lamini technology, designed to protect something far more precious than knowledge." Before she could elaborate, Marcus's sensors blared a warning. Multiple contacts emerging from the energy patterns. But, these aren't Imperial signatures. A fleet of ships materialized from the swirling energies, vessels of various designs and origins, all modified with technology that seemed to help them navigate the maelstrom's fury. Their leader's voice crackled through the comm system. "Horizon's Edge, this is Commander Elena Torres of the Free Systems Alliance. We've been expecting you." Sarah exchanged looks with her crew before responding. "This is Captain Chen. I wasn't aware anyone could survive out here, let alone maintain a fleet." Elena's laugh carried both warmth and steel. "The maelstrom provides perfect cover for those who know its secrets. We've been building this resistance for years, gathering ships and crews from every corner of the galaxy, anyone willing to stand against the Empire's tyranny. And now, thanks to your Lamini friend, we might finally have a chance to do more than just hide." The Horizon's Edge was escorted to a massive structure hidden within the energy storms, a sprawling space station that seemed to be partially integrated with the maelstrom itself. As they docked, Lasara's eyes filled with tears of crystalline light. "The Nexus Hub," she breathed. "We thought it was destroyed during the Empire's purge. This was the center of all Lamini research and development." Commander Torres met them at the airlock, a tall woman with cybernetic enhancements visible along her temples and neck. Her diverse crew represented species from across the galaxy, all united in purpose. "Welcome to Haven Station," Elena said, leading them through corridors where advanced technology merged seamlessly with the station's living crystal architecture. "We've been monitoring Imperial communications. The entire fleet is being mobilized to search for you, or more specifically, for what you carry." Sarah noticed how the station's crystalline elements seemed to respond to Lasara's presence, lighting up as she passed. "You know about the child?" Elena nodded grimly. "We've had spies in the Empire's genetics program for years. We know what Nexus was trying to create, and we know it didn't go according to his plans. The child represents a pure fusion of Lamini abilities with something entirely new. It could be the key to unlocking the full power of the Maelstrom network." In the station's medical center, equipped with both advanced human technology and restored Lamini healing chambers, Dr. Hassan worked with the Resistance's xenobiologists to monitor Lasara's rapidly progressing pregnancy. "The child's development is accelerating," he reported. "The energy from the Maelstrom seems to be feeding it somehow, helping it grow stronger. But that same energy signature is making it easier for the Empire to track." Maya, who had been analyzing data from the station's sensors, looked up from her work. "They're already closing in. Multiple Imperial battle groups converging on the Maelstrom's outer boundaries. They'll be here within days." Commander Torres's expression hardened. "Then we have days to prepare. The station's defenses are formidable, but against the full might of the Imperial fleet." "We don't need to defeat them," Lasara interrupted, her voice stronger than they'd ever heard it. "We just need to hold them off long enough for the child to be born. Here, in the heart of the Maelstrom, surrounded by the ancient power of my people, this is where it was always meant to happen." Sarah watched as the Resistance fighters and her own crew began working together, preparing for the coming battle. Humans used their technical ingenuity to enhance the station's weapons, while aliens contributed their unique abilities and knowledge. It was everything the Empire feared, different species working together, combining their strengths. The Empire rose to power by dividing us, Elena explained as they reviewed battle plans. Turning species against each other, exploiting old rivalries and fears. But here, in the heart of the storm, we've learned a better way. Lasara suddenly gasped, doubling over. The child's glow had intensified, and the station's crystal architecture pulsed in response. It's beginning, she said through gritted teeth. The child, it senses what's coming. It's trying to prepare. Sarah placed a supportive hand on Lasara's shoulder, feeling the warm resonance of her crystalline skin. Then we'll be ready too. Maya, send word to every resistance cell that can reach us in time. Marcus, work with Haven's security teams to prepare our defenses. Kai, I want you training their pilots on Maelstrom navigation. She turned to Elena, extending her hand. Commander Torres, I believe it's time we showed the Empire what happens when they push the galaxy too far. Elena grasped her hand firmly, a fierce smile on her face. Indeed it is, Captain Chen. Indeed it is. As the resistance prepared for battle, the Maelstrom's energies swirled with increasing intensity. The child's imminent birth would mark either the beginning of a new hope for the galaxy, or its final descent into darkness. Everything would depend on what happened in the next few days, as the Empire's forces descended upon them. The Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace like a dark tide, hundreds of warships, their crystalline weapons glowing with stolen Lumini power. On Haven Station's command center, the assembled resistance leaders watched the enemies approach through the Maelstrom's swirling energies. They've brought enough firepower to glass a planet, Marcus observed grimly. Sarah stood beside Commander Torres, both women studying the tactical displays. Good thing we're not fighting a conventional battle then. The past few days had transformed Haven Station. Under Sarah's and Elena's leadership, the resistance had prepared defenses that played to their strengths, human ingenuity combined with alien technology and knowledge of the Maelstrom's unique properties. The station's crystalline architecture now hummed with power, resonating with both Lasara's presence and the approaching birth. Emperor Nexus himself is leading the fleet, Maya reported, monitoring Imperial communications. His flagship just launched a transmission. The Emperor's hologram materialized in the command center, a towering figure whose armor incorporated corrupted Lumini crystals. His voice carried the weight of absolute authority. This is your only warning. Surrender the Lumini and her abomination, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will tear apart the very fabric of space to destroy you. Sarah stepped forward, her response clear and unwavering. You're right about one thing, Nexus. Space itself is about to be torn apart, but not the way you think. She nodded to Maya, who activated the station's comm systems. All ships, execute Operation Stormborn. Kai, you have tactical command of our fighter groups. Remember your training, use the Maelstrom's currents, don't fight them. The battle erupted across multiple dimensions of space. Imperial warships launched their first salvos, only to have their crystalline energy weapons caught and redirected by carefully positioned gravitational lenses, technology developed by the human engineers based on Lumini principles. Resistance fighters, led by Kai, danced through the electromagnetic storms with practiced ease while their Imperial pursuers struggled against the turbulence. Deep within the station, Lasara lay in the ancient healing chamber, her body pulsing with intense light as her labor progressed. Dr. Hassan monitored her vital signs while working alongside alien healers. The child's energy signature is off the charts, he reported via comm, it's interfacing with the station's system somehow, with the entire Maelstrom network. Sarah's voice carried across all channels, all ships fall back to secondary positions. Maya, activate the resonance arrays. Devices planted throughout the Maelstrom days earlier came to life, creating a complex web of energy that began to amplify and redirect the storm's natural power. Imperial ships found their own weapons turning against them as the stolen Lumini crystals responded to the ancient technologies hidden within the storm. But Emperor Nexus was not so easily defeated. His flagship, powered by the largest collection of corrupted crystals, pushed through the Resistance's defenses. "You think you understand the power you're dealing with?" his voice boomed. "I have spent decades mastering these energies. Your pathetic resistance ends today." The flagship's main weapon charged, preparing to unleash enough power to tear Haven Station apart. But at that moment, Lysara's voice echoed through every crystal, every piece of technology in the sector. "Now, my child. Show them what true power looks like." A pulse of pure energy erupted from the station's heart, emanating from the newborn child. It swept through the battlefield like a wave of liquid light, touching every corrupted crystal in the Imperial fleet. The stolen Lumini technologies didn't just shut down, they transformed, their original purpose reasserting itself. Through the command center's viewport, Sarah and Elena watched in awe as Emperor Nexus's mighty flagship began to change. The corrupted crystals that powered its weapons bloomed with new life, spreading throughout the vessel's structure. Similar transformations rippled across the Imperial fleet. "What's happening?" Elena whispered. Lysara's voice, though weak from her labor, carried clear understanding. "The child, it carries not just our memories, but our true purpose. The Lumini were never meant to be weapons. We were guardians, preservers, transformers. The child is reminding the crystals of their original nature." The Imperial fleet hung motionless in space, their ships now partially crystalline, their weapons transformed into generators of life and energy rather than death. On the flagship's bridge, Emperor Nexus watched in horror as his own armor began to change, the corrupted crystals responding to their ancient programming. "This is impossible," his voice crackled through failing comms. "What have you done?" Sarah's response was calm but firm. "We didn't do anything. We just helped protect something new long enough for it to be born. Something that could remember what was forgotten." In the medical bay, Dr. Hassan helped Lysara sit up, her newborn child cradled in her arms. The infant's crystalline form pulsed with rainbow lights, each wave sending out new transformative energies into space. "A perfect fusion," Lysara murmured, tears of joy falling like diamonds. Human adaptability and determination combined with Lumini wisdom and power. This is what Nexus never understood. True power comes not from domination, but from transformation and cooperation. The Resistance fleet regrouped around Haven Station as the Imperial ships began retreating, their crews struggling to understand their transformed vessels. Commander Torres turned to Sarah with a tired but triumphant smile. "So, Captain Chen, ready to help build something new?" Sarah watched as her crew worked alongside their alien allies, human and non-human together, all of them changed by what they had witnessed. The maelstrom continued to swirl around them, but now its energies felt less chaotic, more purposeful, as if the whole galaxy was awakening to new possibilities. "That's what humans do best," she answered. "We take what exists and help it become something better. And we never do it alone." In her mother's arms, the child, neither fully Lumini nor purely Imperial, but something gloriously new, reached out with a tiny crystalline hand and touched the station's wall. Where she touched, new growth sprouted, creating patterns of light that spoke of hope, of change, of a future where the barriers between species would fade like stars at dawn. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly as it should be.